Hi, this is Sandy. This is my bottom of the sea multimedia canvas circle. It's my Scrapaholics May Project. I hope you enjoy it. This circle is a canvas, a hard canvas circle, and on the back of it, it's totally a flat magnet, so you can either hang it or you can use it as a magnet on the fridge. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to gesso each one of the canvas fronts. And then I'm going to flip it over, as I'm holding the edge, and I'm going to wipe it off a little bit. And I'm going to do that, throughout while I'm making the project to kind of make sure that nothing dries on the back of the where the magnet is. You dry your gesso, and then you're going to come in with texture paste. And this is a gritty texture paste. And then once you've got the texture paste arranged like in a, how you like it, or like I did a like U shape, like the bottom of the ocean, and then I used regular stones, art stones, and I arranged just some randomly around on the texture paste. And then I came in with the Mega ArtStones and applied some of those. And then once I got the look that I liked, then you're going to come in with the mini stones and the texture powder. And the texture powder, it's almost like sand. It's so fine. And you're using these two things to fill it in so that it really does look like the bottom of the ocean or a beach or something. And then you take your chipboard pieces, and I used the starfish and the anchor medleys, and I used two of the anchor medleys. And I kind of figured out where I wanted to place them, and then I clipped them to fit, and I set them aside. And you can see here why I used a second one. And then I just used that extra piece, set it aside for another project. Then I'm taking the starfish and I'm cutting them basically in half and deciding, which one I want to put where. I actually used that one little piece with two, and it looked like a dog sticking its head up, so I didn't want to use that. Those little coral pieces are actually an item you can also get from the Scrapaholics site. Excuse me. But I decided that I wanted more canvas space showing for the sprays that I'm going to use. That's the reason that I didn't place them on there. And then I picked out some of just some pearl beads and some small shells and little coral pieces that I have, and set them aside to use later. Now I'm gessoing the chipboard pieces, and I just set each piece that I gesso, I set it next to the canvas that it goes to and let that dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and gesso the texture paste and the stones. And it's still slightly soft, but it's not that hard to gesso it. And you just go a little bit slower than you might with something else. And then you dry that gesso so that the gesso is dry. You don't want the texture paste to be totally rock hard, because now you're coming and you're putting matte gel on the back of your starfish, and you want to be able to really snug that up against the texture paste. And if it had dried completely rock hard, you wouldn't be able to do that. Once your gel paste is once you've got that laid down, take a brush and wipe off any extra that you have or excess, that's anywhere on the canvas. Smooth it out. And you're going to do the same exact thing with the net. Go ahead and apply gel medium to the back of it, position it, and then you're going to brush off any excess that's there after you've got it where you want it to be. It just looks nicer once you smooth out anything that's excess and sticking out. You don't want little, dried blobs around it. Now, once you get all of them applied, you dry them. And then once all of that gel medium is dry, you're going to go ahead and gesso a final time over the chipboard pieces. The reason you want to do that is because you don't want to have to use your sprays with the matte gel. It just doesn't apply quite the same when that matte gel is there instead of the gesso. And it really shows, so you don't want that. Now I'm applying the sprays, and I'm using the wand instead of spraying it on. You can, and then I use water and I spray and then I tip it and move it around. And you can play around with it yourself until you get the look that you like. It's not like there's a wrong way to do it or a right way. It's what you like, and you can thin it out a little bit with water if you think it's too dark. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm doing my first layer, and when I get to where I like the first layer, and it doesn't necessarily cover completely the whole thing, but when I like what I see in the first layer, I go ahead and then set it down and dry it, and it sets that first layer. And then I come back in and add more until I get the coverage that I like. And these sprays, they have a glimmer to them, and the thicker that the spray is, the more the glimmer shows. The thinner that the spray is, the more it has that watery color, like a watercolor look. So it's just your taste, what you like, how you like it to look. And if you get a little bit too much spray in the net and you don't like it, just take a paintbrush, and touch it, and it'll pick it right up. Now I'm taking a quote sticker and I'm sticking it on a piece of paper, scrap paper that I've already got that has, inks on it, so it's colored, or you can use scraps of printed paper and trim around it. And then you're going to take some glossy accents and, put a layer over the top of it just to give it some sturdiness. And then you're going to set them down and let them dry. While they're drying, you're going to take a mini hot glue gun and you're going to glue down some mini shells, coral pieces that I had. And I just did them kind of randomly And I used 5 on each one. And then I'm taking and I'm putting some drops that look like little bubbles. And now I'm putting a little drop of glue, hot glue, and I'm taking the 3 miscellaneous colored pearl beads and I'm gluing them all together in a spot as an accent, point. And then I add more drops if I think it needs it. And then to finish the project up, you're going to take a white cord trim, and you're going to go all the way around the edge. And then you're going to meet at the top. And to cover the top where it meets, you're going to tie a double knot, trim the edges. And I like that rough look. You could trim it shorter too if you wanted. I like it a little bit longer. You're going to glue it there in the center, covering up that top edge. And then you're going to come in with some gesso and splatter lightly over all of them. And that will be the final step. You let it dry. And I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure and check out the description area for the supply list. And I hope that you hit the like button if you liked it, and subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. And I'm showing each one of them individually so you can get a look at them. And I hope you come back, and I enjoyed doing this with you. Thanks.